This week, I finally ticked off an activity that was on my bucket list for years, and I almost had to sleep on the street one night, but more on those later. Over the past 30 days, I've been skiing in Japan. I've flown halfway across the world. I had a water balloon fight with a bunch of fully grown adults, and I've lived in this incredible house with 10 founders from 9 different countries. I also got the flu, a stomach bug, and I turned 30. So it's been another wild week. If you're new here, my name's Evan, and it's now been about a year and 2 months of building 2, well, actually technically 3 online businesses and traveling the world full time. Since I left home last year, I've been growing Art of Mondays, a community for lifestyle entrepreneurs, and the Founder Sports Club, which mixes networking and sports. And I've also been moving through Indonesia, Thailand, Japan, Canada, America, Australia, Japan again, and now here, South Africa, in beautiful Cape Town, where the sunsets are on another level. Anyway, every week I sit down and I share the highs, the lows, the learnings, and the lessons of building businesses while living on the road. Plus, all the challenges associated with trying to become a better version of myself. And with that in mind, welcome back to my Monday Journal, episode 9. But before any of that, here's a quick life update of what's been happening over the past week. After 10 days of insane energy, I've spent the last week or so slowing down here in Camps Bay in Cape Town. The first few days were spent living in a co-living house called Neighborhood, where I expected to meet a bunch of people and have great conversations, but actually it ended up being really quiet and really peaceful. The only real connection I made was with this cat that somehow snuck its way into my room. So this is the new pad for the next couple of days. I'm in Camps Bay in Cape Town. Got my bed, got my bathroom, got a little desk, but the main event of this room is not the room itself, it's what's on the outside. So let me show you. I am lucky enough to have the room that is closest to the pool over here. It's a pretty epic spot, but the real main event is when you go over here and you get that unbelievable view of Table Mountain. Then the weekend rolled around and myself and a lot of the other Art of Mondays members in town went over to Levy's place, who was one of the 11 people on our Cape Town residency last week. And his house is insane. No kidding, there's a lake in the backyard with a rope swing, inflatable canoes, a table tennis table, and a big grassy area to soak up the sun. But the best part of that day out was the people. They were mostly entrepreneurs, but there was no ego, there was no fancy watches, there was no status, look at me kind of games going on. Everyone was just genuine, kind, wanted to get to know each other and wanted to share stories. That humble nature and that authenticity is honestly what I'm really starting to appreciate about Cape Town and the people here. Anyway, that was my week, and here are my traffic lights. And if you're new here, that just means my highlight, my learning, and my low light from the 7 days just gone. My highlight, well, I mentioned my bucket list activity at the start of this video, and that was hiking up Lion's Head. It's been something I've wanted to do for years, and rather than me just talk about it, let me put some footage over the top and I'll show you what it was really like. That one.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I think that's the most iconic hike in Cape Town, eh?
For sure.
No way.
I'm not at all tired.
No.
It's easy.
What's your review on the view?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Okay, we're about 3/4 of the way up Lion's Head, and I'm pretty speechless. This place just continues to amaze me with how beautiful the landscapes are. I have admittedly and gratefully seen a lot of cities, traveled a lot, in my 30 years on this planet, but Cape Town honestly stands out for the mountains meeting the sea, and around every corner there's just a new stunning moment, and I just can't seem to put down my camera. It's pretty epic. Let me show you over here as well. That's Table Mountain, and I've been wanting to hike up Table Mountain and this one, Lion's Head, for many years. My plan was actually to do it on my 30th birthday last week, but I was pretty sick, so it's been delayed a week, but that's okay because today I get to do it with some awesome company, some new friends and some old friends. There are a couple of them down there, Jack and Ruben, and Marcus is somewhere up top struggling to breathe, I think, so I'm gonna go try and catch up and find him and see how he's doing. And my learning of the week, this is very much a self-reflection, but I'm starting to really understand the limiting belief of mine, which is an inability to spend money when I can't justify it. And I'll play a clip over the top here, which is me talking about when I booked a business class flight and how really difficult that was for me to do, even though it was to celebrate my 30th birthday. Is that when I fly back to Australia, I'm actually gonna be flying in business class. And I found it so hard to justify this, but the reason I did it, after a lot of back and forth and recognizing a lot of limiting beliefs with money, is because I wanted to celebrate myself and turning 30 a couple of weeks ago. We also hit a really special milestone for Art of Mondays recently, so combining those two things together, I just felt like this is the thing that makes me uncomfortable, spending money. And ultimately, the way we grow is by doing what makes us uncomfortable. So I'm going to be recording my experience in business class through Qatar Airways, which is supposed to be really nice, and just try to make the most of it. The weirdest thing for me right now is that I feel kind of ashamed saying it, because I kept thinking, like, what could that extra $1,000, $2,000 go towards? Someone needs it more than I do. I found it really hard to justify doing something for myself, and that's why I did it, because it made me feel really uncomfortable. And I've spent the whole last month, in fact arguably much longer than that, running in-person experiences for other people and putting other people first. And that means that I'm usually the one that gets the least amount of sleep. It means that I'm the one who falls behind on my work, and it also has made it harder for me to really enjoy the moment when I'm thinking about everyone else, making sure that they have the most impactful time possible. So this morning I found a really good offer that was too good to refuse. So before I had a chance to talk myself out of it, I pulled the trigger, and in that emotional state is when I was able to actually take advantage of myself, because I knew as soon as I started getting logical, I would have found a way to say no. I would have found a way to justify flying in an economy and sitting in my little cramped middle seat. Although I do have a bunch of tips that often get me an empty row or some extra legroom, but that's for another video. And my challenge of the night was, not exaggerating here, I almost ended up sleeping on the street for a night. And the reason that this happened is because I had a beautiful Airbnb booked, which was just across the road from this share house actually. And around 3 o'clock on the day I was supposed to check in, I got a notification saying that my Airbnb had been cancelled. And when that happened, I messaged the host and I said, hey, what's going on? Why have you cancelled? And they messaged me saying, hey, what's going on? Why have you cancelled? And turns out it was actually Airbnb, the platform, that had cancelled the booking. And I don't know exactly why, but we followed up with them and they said it was a system error. So because of a system error, it was an hour past the check-in time, and I had nowhere to sleep on that night. I spent a lot of time on the phone to Airbnb trying to come up with a solution, and there were options to rebook other places, but because it was so late in the day, 7 p.m. by the time I actually got the okay from Airbnb to rebook somewhere else. No one was accepting bookings. Everyone was either out having dinner or preoccupied where they weren't checking their phone or didn't want to deal with a new tenant coming in that particular night. Or any Airbnbs that would have accepted me last minute were already booked out. So it was slim pickings. The silver lining here is that I managed to get a credit for accommodation, and a credit that was actually more than double what I paid for the original spot. And the way I did this, which is something that I've applied to a lot of situations over the years, is I just asked and I was firm. So I got on the phone and I said, hey, like, you've messed up, all politely, of course. You've messed up and I need a place to sleep tonight. The refund that you've processed, I appreciate. However, that's not going to land in my account for another 7 to 8 days. So that means you're holding onto my money that was used for tonight's accommodation, and I don't have another accommodation booked for tonight, and I don't have the money available in that account to book it for tonight. So I need you to arrange another accommodation because you had a system error which cancelled it. And at first the representative said, sorry, we can give you a 20% credit. And I said, I can't sleep anywhere for $40, which was the equivalent in the South African currency. So I said, can you please check again? And it is an urgent situation. I don't know what I'm going to do otherwise. And eventually she was able to chat to her superiors and she came back and she said, yes, we can rebook you somewhere. I said, great. Here's a place that was right next to where I had originally booked, although it was double the price. But I didn't really have much choice at that particular time. And I was going to aim for something that was nicer, not less nice. So at that point, eventually they caved and I did get the credit, which was worth close to $800 Australian. However, it was 7 p.m. and I couldn't use it. So I had this credit sitting in my account that was supposed to be for where I was going to sleep that night, and it was irrelevant. Fortunately, I have some friends here who came to the rescue last minute and made some space on the couch for me. So thanks to Jan and Dustin and the crew for helping me out there. But the funny thing is, it actually ended up being a best case scenario because aside from sleeping on a couch for a night, I still had the credit in my account the next day because I didn't use it on an emergency accommodation. That meant that I could book another accommodation in the future that is going to save me a little bit of hassle and time and money down the line. So despite a bit of hassle, despite a bit of stress, it all ended up being okay. Moral of the story, ask for what you think you deserve. And sometimes it's okay not to take no for an answer when you feel like you've been hard done by. And now for my weekly questions to ponder. The first is, if you could remove one major distraction from your life, what would it be? And what impact would that have? And the second question to ponder is, what's one way that you can prioritize presence over productivity this week? Have a think about those. Feel free to share your reflections in the comments. And if you like the questions to ponder, please let me know and I will keep them coming. Now, to wrap up, I'll give you a quick Art of Mondays update like I do every week. So we currently are at 1,521 applications. That's up about 140 over the past week. We have 117 active members now. The average age is 27 and they're all lifestyle founders. So people who run online businesses, but also share our values of health and travel and mindfulness and authenticity and selflessness and freedom and all that good stuff. As for what's happened specifically over the past week, well, it's been honestly a week of catch up after being on the residency last week. I've just had a lot of admin to do, a lot of work that's been piling up, but it's nice to put a dent in that and feel like I'm back on top of things. We also sold out our Croatia founder residency. This is happening in a 500-year-old castle on an island, which I am very excited for, and that's happening in May. But even before that one, we're going to Italy in an even older castle. I guess there's a theme with castles this year, but I'll put all the information on those in the description if you want to dig around and see what the residencies are like. We also welcomed Eman and Tom to the team. These guys we have dubbed our sweet talkers, and essentially what their role is to get on the phone with some of our Founder Sports Club members who we think would be an amazing fit for our Art of Mondays community and get to know them a little bit better. And if the stars align and if they feel compelled to, then we can talk about what joining the community would look like. But really, it's just a chance for us to look beyond people who come to us and think who would give immense value to the community and who would be able to get immense value from the community as well. And for a quick Founder Sports Club update, we now have 3,643 members across 58 cities. We just launched this week in Helsinki, Zurich, Jakarta, and Abu Dhabi. And we're also planning to launch a Los Angeles run club. So keep your eyes peeled on that one coming soon. Anyway, the sun is clearly going down and I'm losing my light. So that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in to another one of my Monday journals. If you want to keep up to date with everything that's going on in my life, traveling, building businesses, then please subscribe, follow along the journey, and I appreciate you being here, and we'll see you in the next episode. All right, thanks fam, peace.